you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we gonna get down to the other stuff here in a second. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, before we do anything else, just vibe. Vibe. Make sure you hit the like button as you come in the door. We're gonna take just a few minutes to let a few people trickle in, and then we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty. Now today, we're not gonna touch on the transits or elaborate on the aspects. No. Today, we're gonna have our teachable moment. We're gonna get right into the difference between ErIs and ErOs. And we'll touch on any other astrological curiosities that you may have. I haven't opened the floor for questions at any point this week, so we're definitely gonna do that. So just vibe. Just let it seep in. Venmo. I agree. Shout out to Othello, he made this. I need just a few more of y'all to hit that like button though. And that's just a matter of respect. It's not about ego. Nah. This is about algorithm. It just helps us expand the platform. That way, if you're not trying to hear what I'm trying to say, at least we can get out to the next motherfucker who is. Yeah. And if you're here and you're not gonna hit the like button, what the fuck are you here for? You creeping? You hating? No, let me guess. You swag sucking. As you can see, I got plenty to spare. I hope you have a long throat. Fine. If you haven't smiled yet today, now would be the perfect time to do so. I mean, like right now. And if you can't find a smile for yourself, please allow me to be the smile on your face. Because at the end of the day, all I am is the smile on your face. All I am is the motherfucking vibe. Can you feel that? Yeah. Join us as we get into the astrological curiosities and touch on the difference between ErIs and ErOs. One being an asteroid, the other one being a planet, a dwarf planet, some would say. But we might find in the near future that it has a major impact. Hit that like button. Yes, sir. Where's everybody checking in from in the world? It's 12:42 in Narnia. Do you know what your vibe is? We can change it. You and I. Malik Brown coming from Palestine, Texas. Combed Autumn coming from Lincolnshire, England, mate. Hey, I like that. Yeah. Gary, Indiana. Yeah. Home of them Jacksons from Jackson Street. Bye. soon as I have as many likes as I have people in my chat, that's when I'll get it cracking. Until then, we'll stay in this mode of operation. And next week, next Thursday, we're going to get into touching on the fixed stars, and specifically Regulus, Antares, and Algol, and what it means for you. We got the commissioner of the Vibe Tribe in the motherfucking house. We got Serafina in the house. We got Velma Elizabeth in the house. We got Combed Autumn Malik Brown. It's going down. Vibe. Because the vibe is the most important part. Now, let me turn this down a little bit as we get to work. Now, I know if I don't get it out of the way, you're going to ask about it. So I'm going to tell you what's going on with the transits, but I'm not going to elaborate and give interpretations on anything. I'm going to tell you where everything is. I'm not going to elaborate on what's going on. We did that yesterday, and we'll do it again tomorrow. The big picture is important anyway. So, the sun is now at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So you either gonna be the beacon or you're gonna be looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. That's up to you. We got the moon. The moon is now sitting at 17 degrees of Capricorn. Just make sure you give yourself a break. That means don't get caught up in all that competing and comparing. Now, Mercury sits at 8 degrees of Capricorn, retrograde until January 1st. Here in about a week or so, Mercury will regress back into Sagittarius, just so you know. So, Venus now sits at 11 degrees of Scorpio. So things are hitting a little deeper. Your love nature is operating at extremes. Oh, you feel it so intensely, it's hard to trust it. You either lusted or disgusted. Hit that motherfucking like button. Now, Mars is at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. So, if you believe, you can achieve. All it takes is belief. Belief in self is not propaganda. It's applied power. Jupiter. Jupiter sits at 6 degrees of Taurus. So don't get stuck. Don't end up fucked trying to make an extra buck. Don't let your greed deceive you. Yeah. Saturn. Saturn is still at 1 degrees of Pisces for a couple more days. You just gotta fight the feeling. Fighting the feeling helps you deal with life appropriately. It helps you mature emotionally. Uranus. Uranus is at 19 degrees of Taurus. You can't get comfortable. There ain't nothing stable about this environment that we living in or this atmosphere we're operating in. You gotta find that inside of yourself. That means finding a place inside of you that's open-minded and adaptable to the changes that are occurring. Your stubbornness will defeat you. Stability is a mindset. Now, Neptune. Neptune is sitting 24 degrees of Pisces. And I forgot to mention that Jupiter and Uranus are both retrograde. Jupiter retrograde throughout the remainder of the year till December 31st. So Jupiter will come out of retrograde first. Mercury will come out of retrograde on January 1st. Or people are saying the 2nd, but from what I've observed, it will be later in that day on the 1st, depending on where you are in the world. For Uranus will come out of retrograde on the 27th. Chiron will come out of retrograde on December 26th. But Chiron is hardly ever mentioned when we're speaking on the major retrogrades. Now, Pluto's at 28 degrees of Capricorn, so you're gonna let hard times and stress defeat you, or you gonna get tough. You're gonna get gritty. You gotta find out. It ain't easy. Now, the black moon. No, let's go to Chiron. Chiron's at 15 degrees of Aries. You just gotta hold yourself accountable. The black moon Lilith is at 8 degrees of Virgo. So that's gonna make it hard to hold yourself accountable. It's gonna make you think too much. You're not feeling or enjoying very much. You're analyzing and criticizing, dissecting. This is opposite my natal moon. Maybe my brain is working against me. The nodes are now sitting at 23 degrees of Aries and Libra. That means you got to do what you got to do for you. You got to face life fearlessly and operate actively and unapologetically. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do for you. Now, looking at the numerology of the day, it is December, so that's a 12, which equals out to a 3. It's December 14th. So the 14 is a 5. 1 plus 4 is a 5. 2023. 2023 is a 7. 2 plus 2 is a 4, plus 3 is a 7. So you have a 3, a 5, and a 7. 3 plus 5 is an 8, plus 7 is a 15. 1 plus 5 is a 6. We are in that 6 vibration today. But it is a karmic day because it is the 14th. So although we are in that 6 vibration, there is that karmic 14 at play. Now, what's a karmic 14? It's an abuse of free will. It's a waste. Don't waste your love. Be willing to commit to something productive today. Be willing to commit to healing yourself or helping nurture others. Be willing to commit to handling your responsibilities effectively. I don't think you heard me, though. Yeah. You got to be willing to commit, man. I almost went into a whole motherfucking jam. Let me quit. Now, before we go any further, as I said, next week we're going to talk about fixed stars, and specifically Regulus, Antares, and Algol. And we'll discuss where those are placed and what they mean historically, a little bit of the mythology behind them, but not too in depth. One day we're gonna come on here and we're gonna talk about the mythology behind everything. I really need to do a series about mythology because I love mythology. Being a Pisces moon, I absolutely love it. But that's gonna be a whole different realm of expression. Now I need a few more of y'all to hit that like button before I go any further anyway. But I want y'all also, while we're here today, to be thinking of some more teachable topics that we can discuss on Thursdays moving forward that y'all want to know about. And if it's something worth discussing, like the stuff that I've deemed here. See, I haven't done a lot of studying on asteroids. There's a few that I have studied and I do incorporate, like the major asteroids and Ceres and Vesta and Pallas Athena and Juno. And of course, Chiron, which is a centaur. And I look at Charliklo because it's associated with Chiron. And I've recently studied Eros and ErIs. I know about the fixed stars, of course, the vertex, the galactic center, places like that. But like for me, I'm still when we get into this here in a second, I'm still studying ErIs. ErIs is probably the one that I understand the least. Because the name ErIs will fool you, and it's going to fool you. It's going to fool a lot of you that aren't into the asteroids or don't have any understanding of the asteroids. Some of you do, so you understand fully what we're talking about here. But for those of you that don't, you're gonna think ErIs and ErOs are both associated sexually, and they're actually not. which one is, one isn't, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I'm going to give a little brief, you know, and I wrote some notes even here about it that I want to make sure that I touch on. But I'm going to give just a brief little rundown of what I know about each one of these and what it could possibly mean for each one of us personally. And then moving forth from that, I'll just open the floor for questions for, you know, another hour, hour and a half. I do have a class with Love 12 today, my apprentice. And so I'm not going to be here for 4 hours. I'm going to be here probably for about 2 hours total. We've already been here for about a half an hour. So once we discuss this for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long it takes us, then we'll go on from there and we'll open the floor for questions for a little bit, because it has been, you know, a few days since I've been available to answer questions for y'all. And that's what I do want to do. I think I might have done it Monday or Friday the last time, but that's always what the point is of me being here, is to vibe with you and be available to answer any questions that you may have, which is me showing love and sharing my gift with you. Is just being here and opening that up and being, all right, you know, for what it is. You actually have access to one of the best astrologers in the whole fucking world. And I'm going to be able to be here and answer any questions that you might have about your chart, or about numerology, or about synastry, or about anything that you need help with. And hopefully that brings us, you know, into a better understanding with each other. So it's up to you. Damn. Hold up. Now, Venetian Fairy, how are you doing? Does anybody have any questions before we start? Well, let me say this. If you really fuck with me, go share this on whatever social media platform that you fuck with the most. Go take this live right now and share it in whatever Facebook group that you participate in that fucks with astrology. That's the least you can do. You understand? If you ain't gonna hit the super chat, the super like, the super sticker, the least thing you can do is go share this on whatever group you fuck with, or whatever platform you fuck with. Help us expand the platform. All right. Because we're about to get into the differences between ErIs and ErOs. And after that, I will be here to answer any questions about any other astrological curiosities that you may have. Yeah. Now, let's talk about ErIs first. Okay? Because this is actually, like I said, the asteroid, or one of the asteroids that I understand the least about, because it's hard for me to really, you know, grasp this concept. Maybe it's because I have a fear of it in a certain way, because once I really started studying it, it scared me because of where it's placed in my chart. But ErIs is going to kind of be representative of the energy of a feminine warrior for a soul's purpose. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I wrote down when I was reading about it. And ErIs is actually the newest planet or dwarf planet. I know that might be taboo to say, but a dwarf planet in our solar system. And before it was called ErIs, who happens to be the goddess of strife and discord and war, it was actually called Xena. you know, the popular warrior princess that a lot of us grew up watching. If you were a 90s or 80s baby or 90s child, or somebody who kind of was into that Greek stuff. And also the name Persephone was also considered for this right here. So just taking that, you with these bodies, whether it be planets, asteroids, even in the Vedic system, certain nakshatras and stuff, the name is important. All right, so considering all of those names, what we're gonna get in archetype is the image of a perhaps damaged and militant feminism. Okay, this is an energy that's not gonna shrink from violence. Okay, Eris don't shrink from violence. And with Eris's discovery actually correlating with the Iraqi war back in 2003, that certainly does add to that mystique with this right here. You know what I'm saying? And even though Eris is more recently discovered, you have to consider the fact that Eris is about the same size as Pluto and not far off from Pluto, even though Pluto is a little closer. And when Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, its discovery actually introduced some really dark realizations regarding the human psyche that we can't dismiss. I mean, if you look at Vedic astrologers, they are now incorporating Pluto and Neptune and Uranus. You know, this is a power that was previously unacknowledged that we now have to pay attention to in a chart. Plain and simple. So with the more we learn about Eris, the more we gonna learn about ourselves. You feel me? So when it comes to the astrology of Eris, for me, it kind of seems to be related to that no holds barred fight for the continued existence that's fundamental to all natural processes. All right. And it's about making a stand for what you believe in, even if it means having to resort to violence, especially if it means having to resort to violence. See, Eris is actually the sister of Mars, the god of war himself. You feel me? So she didn't play no games. This is a bad motherfucker. This is a bad bitch. You hear me? And she's gonna actively seek battle. She's gonna actively seek battle. So Eris represents that side of our nature that's actually quite harsh. It's about that fundamental struggle for survival that's a natural part of the human condition. But it's not even a human condition. About the experience here on Earth. You got to think like a baby deer that's grazing in a meadow and that pack of wolves that's watching from the shadows. You hear me? See, this is about the beauty and the savagery that's rooted in the need to eat, but also linked to that possibility of death at any moment. And that's actually represented as this feminist struggle for survival. You have to protect your young. You have to protect yourself. You have to and a lot of times, even look at it like this. Some predators have to kill to nurture their young. That's a part of what it is. That's the truth. So wherever this shows up in your chart, this right here shows, and a lot of us have it in Aries because it doesn't move a lot. I have it in Aries myself, right there on my descendant, on the cusp of my 6th and 7th house, exactly on my descendant, which is scary. And I've had some really crazy relationships. I've had some relationships that were a danger to me. I've been in some really volatile situations. It's actually just slightly on the 6th house side because just by the minutes, it's about 6 minutes from my descendant. 4 minutes from my, no, it's 4 minutes from my descendant. So it's on the 6th house side by 4 minutes, but it's conjunct my descendant. It's right there on my descendant. But you know, looking at where this is in the chart, some people can say this is where the fucked up parts of life bring the best out of you. Or vice versa. This could also be where love brings the worst out of you, where ErIs shows up in a chart. It could also be the point in your chart where you're liable to be the most violent. One of them. But it's receptive violence. It's feminine violence. It's not attacking. It's responding. It's responsive. It's reactive. It's feminine. It's not offensive. It's protective. Combined combed autumn. You said you've got ErIs and ErIs, and you can't find ErOs. You have it in the 2nd house. But yeah, I mean that right there speaks to your struggle for independence financially in a certain way. And it shows that you're a go-getter. You'll do whatever it takes to put some food on the table and to handle your business. It means you'll protect what you have at all costs. If somebody steals from you, that they're gonna get the most adverse reaction that they could ever expect. That's one of the things you hate the most. There's so much that goes into that. It could even be said that money brings the worst out of you. But that's also when you're at your best, is when you're trying to get some motherfucking money. So yeah. Villanita, ErIs is related to that no holds barred fight for continued existence that's fundamental to all natural processes. It's about making a stand for what you believe in, even if it means you have to resort to violence. ErIs is Mars' sister. And Mars, of course, is that god of war. And ErIs didn't play no motherfucking game. She's a bad motherfucker in her own right. And she actively seeks battle, or actively responds to adversity. And ErIs represents the side of our nature that's harsh, but not quite as savage as the masculine side of it. You know, this is that fundamental struggle for survival that's a natural part of earthbound condition, you know. As I was saying earlier, you got to think about that baby deer that's grazing in the meadow, and that pack of wolves that's watching from the shadows. Understand? This is about the beauty and the savagery that's rooted in the need to eat, being also linked to the possibility of an immediate death. And that's represented by a feminist struggle for survival. When you think about the pack of wolves, that's just a family trying to feed themselves. That baby deer is just grazing in the meadow. He's just trying to feed himself. The deer gets away, the wolves go hungry. The babies in that pack go hungry for a while. The deer dies, the babies get fed. It's not right or wrong. But it is a struggle. It is a struggle. That's ErIs. You hear me? And ErIs isn't an asteroid. It might be called an asteroid, but it's not. It is a dwarf planet, or a planet even. And it's the feminine warrior spirit within us that's fighting for a purpose. Look at Villanita. I believe it. I believe it. Now, let's get to ErOs, because this is a little sexier. It's a more simple definition, but we can speak a little bit more on it because I understand it a lot more. I've been working with ErOs for a long time. I haven't worked with ErIs for very long. But ErOs is going to be representative of our creative passion. All right. And that means a lot of different things. But ultimately, being named after the Greek god of love and desire, this is going to have a lot to do with our love lives and our sexuality in particular. So depending on where this falls in our chart, this is going to be an extremely powerful force in our lives when it comes to romance. But not just romance, also creativity. All right. So when it comes to astrology, ErOs not only governs our sexual desires, but it also fosters our obsessions, and it speaks specifically to what we like in the bedroom. All right. But a lot of people gonna miss the fact that it also rules over our creative energy. Even in some instances, our fertility. All right. So if you have a strong EROS placement in your chart, not only are you probably fertile and a freak, and you have a a healthy sex life, sexy health life, a healthy sex life. Pardon me. But this probably give you a strong libido too. But you're also probably a very passionate person who loves to express yourself creatively. Now, if you happen to have a weakly placed or a poorly aspected EROS in the chart, then it's going to point to certain issues with sexuality, like a a closet in the closet relationship, or you know, problems with expressing yourself sexually because you feel like what you're into is dirty or taboo, and it might be. That could point to that too. Or some people could have unhealthy sexual obsessions or addictions to certain practices when it comes to sex, or just sex addiction all the way together, nymphomania even. But it also could show somebody who's reticent to express themselves creatively, or somebody who thinks their creative efforts are going to be misunderstood. And rightly so, because it could be somebody whose creative efforts get constantly misunderstood. All right. So when you want to look at it by sign, I mean, you look at Aries. Somebody who has Eros and Aries gonna be impulsive. They're gonna be wild. You know, there's gonna be a passionate and highly sexually charged individual with a strong appetite. You hear me? But there also could be certain fears regarding love and sex. And this is somebody who probably aspires to experience everything life has to offer sexually. You hear me? And everybody. This also points to somebody who's fiercely independent, and somebody who might even avoid marriage or committed relationships for a long period of time. You know, and when it comes to hobbies or obsessions, Eros and Aries could also point to somebody who might be passionate about sports or fitness, outdoor activities, fighting, all that type of stuff. But on the downside of this right here, this can also indicate somebody who might be way too impulsive and reckless when it comes to love and sex. Somebody who could put themselves in all kinds of dangerous situations, or somebody who could be into unhealthy things. And they could also have a very low tolerance for boredom or routine in their relationships. And, you know, when it comes to being in the bedroom, this might be somebody who's more enthusiastic and adventurous, but a little bit quicker with the with the experience. You know, and they're gonna be somebody who wants to push the boundaries. Somebody who constantly wants to push the boundaries. And this is somebody who's gonna want a more physical stimulation when it comes to sex right here. You know, and what else could I say about this? Well, I just think that for somebody with Eros and Aries, this is gonna be an individual who's always gonna be focused on keeping it spicy. Now, the problem with it is some of them can take it too far, or not know when to stop, or like I said earlier, be reckless and impulsive. All right, so they're gonna need somebody who can keep up with them. Now, when it comes to Taurus, and we'll look at that. We can apply the houses in a second, but just look at Taurus first. Let's look at their signs first. All right, y'all. So when it comes to Taurus, this is somebody who's gonna be more sensual. They're very physical too, but they're more sensual. They're very erotic, and they're gonna, you know, as cliched it is, have both a strong appetite when it comes to food and sex. You hear me? And there's somebody who's pretty hedonistic in their approach to life all the way around. There's somebody who loves pleasure and luxury. And they're willing to commit their time and their resources to pursuing things that make them feel good. They value a good time. That's for real. And in terms of relationships, that's going to translate into a desire for stability and security. And they're going to need somebody who can provide them with physical affection, but also material comfort. And they're going to want a partner who can indulge their senses and help them relax into moments of pure bliss and pleasure. You hear me? And what else? There could also be an element of possessiveness that comes with this right here, because they want to know whoever they're involved with, like the polarity of Scorpio, is fully committed to them, or even belongs to them, is a better word. And at the same time, individuals with this one could also be repulsed by people who are overly clingy or possessive with them. They're going to need their space and their own independence, and they're not going to tolerate anybody who tries to control them. And they're also going to be put off by people who are sloppy. They don't like sloppiness and messiness. They prefer a clean and orderly environment, a clean and orderly partner. They're not with fuck shit. And they don't like people who move sloppy. That's not going to be sexy to them. So with this, you know, they're just going to need to work on developing their self-awareness and learn how to express themselves in a more healthy way. And they also going to need to make sure they're not so materialistic. And they could also be somebody who loves nature. I want to add that with Taurus. Now, Gemini. Man. First of all, Eros in Gemini is real interesting for me, because this, first of all, for me, indicates a fear of commitment, or in some, a general lack of interest in sex and relationships all the way around, crazy as it sounds. Even though for me, Gemini is one of the most sexual signs. But it could also that's why it could also represent a high libido and an openness to trying all types of new shit with all types of different people. And these are going to be people who have a hard time expressing their true feelings, or there's going to be people who tend to be what's the word that they be using? I use it sometimes too, but fickle. These are people who tend to be fickle when it comes to love situations. And they're going to find themselves attracted to multiple partners at once. That's the Gemini shit. They're going to be involved with multiple people at once. Now, on the plus side, they're usually excellent communicators, and they're usually excellent at managing those multiple situations at once. And they're probably the most charming people that there are when they want to be, other than the people with Libra placements. Now, in terms of their love life, these are people who are going to benefit from exploring their sexuality more fully with one person. Learn how to do everything that they want to do with one individual. And they probably would really enjoy creative pursuits like writing and journalism, art, you know. And overall, Eros and Gemini is going to be a placement that indicates somebody who's curious and imaginative, but they might need to work on opening up more emotionally to people. You hear me? I need a few more of y'all to hit that like button, though, before I get mad and go home. They're gonna need somebody who's really understanding too. That this is a person who's very curious and somebody who's stimulating. And when it comes to being in the bedroom, they're gonna somebody who's gonna enjoy trying new things all the time and exploring their sexuality, and they're gonna be real creative in that way. And so, if you fucking with somebody who has Eros and Gemini, you probably end up being pleasantly surprised. Now, in general, this also can indicate somebody who's full of energy and who has a true enthusiasm for life all the way around. And they're fun-loving people who are always open for adventures. They need to be stimulated, but they also need to work on being more open emotionally for the people that they truly care about, if they truly care about anybody, because that's a whole different anomaly in itself. And they're gonna have to avoid being so manipulative and lying to the people they're involved with, because that's only gonna lead to problems in the long run. But I mean, that's a problem with a lot of Gemini placements, but it's easy for people with this to do. Now, when it comes to Cancer, these are people who are just full of love, man. They're full of love. They're full of passion. They're full of desire. And I would say that with Eros and Cancer, these are people who are also pretty creative when it comes to intimacy and sex in their own way. But at the same time, they can also be quite repulsed by certain sexual acts or fantasies. They could live in a box sexually. Now, in terms of love, they might find themselves falling in love really easily, but then backing away just as quickly due to their fears of getting hurt or getting rejected in the future. That's what you see with that. And because of that, they often kind of end up going through a lot of short-lived relationships before they end up finding somebody who's willing to stick by them through those ups and downs that they experience emotionally. Now, in general, these are going to be people that need a lot of tenderness and affection and closeness in order for them to feel truly loved and appreciated, or for them to experience any form of intimacy for real. And in terms of relationship, they're going to do best with somebody who's patient and understanding and loving, and somebody who can help them feel safe and secure while still allowing them the freedom to express themselves emotionally without judgment. And, you know, they're gonna be in a lot of trouble if they get involved with somebody who's too demanding or controlling. You know, and seeing that Cancer's ruled by the moon, the influence of Eros right here can sometimes make people seem a little bit moody or fluctuating in their affections. It's like sometimes they want you, and it's like all of a sudden you don't even fuck with me the same. But they're usually very caring and compassionate people who just, you know, they need a lot of love and reassurance for them not to seem hot and cold themselves. And they're going to aspire to have a deep and soulful connection with somebody, and you know, they're wanting to experience everything that love has to offer themselves. And in the bedroom, they're going to prefer slow and intimate sex, and they're not going to want a lot of shit that's too wild or crazy. These are not really adventurous people, I'm going to be honest with you. They're kind of vanilla. You hear me? And so they often are people who fantasize about being loved deeply and passionately and forever. Forever. Now, when it comes to Leo and having Eros in Leo, these are passionate people too in their own right. This is fire. These are people who know what the fuck they want, and they're going to go after whatever it is that they want with everything that they got. Everything. And they're going to exude confidence and charisma, and that's going to make them very attractive to other people. And they're also very creative people who just enjoy being in the spotlight and enjoy attention. And when it comes to sex, they're not going to be afraid to take risks or be a little bit dramatic either. Oh, Anthony got it in Leo, so he'll show out. He might even be a bit of an exhibitionist. Anthony likes to make movies. Don't you, Ant? And I'll make a movie with you. And I'm talking about, I'm on Ant right now. I'm not doing Scorpio till we get to Scorpio. And I mean, Eros and Leo is exciting. You know, this is definitely somebody who can spice up your life and really blow your wig back, you know. But I can also say their need for attention and their competitive nature can sometimes cause some problems in their relationships. And, you know, because they need attention so much, infidelity can always be an issue, as with a lot of Leo placements. Because they need so much attention, if they're not getting the attention that they want, they can go outside of that primary relationship. Now, overall, you know, people with Eros and Leo are going to be passionate, they're going to be exciting, and they're going to be people who just want to just have fun with you. And they're confident. And they're, like I said earlier, they're charismatic, but they're loyal to their partner without promising faithfulness. Now, you can be loyal without being faithful. That means they care about their partner and they don't want to leave their partner. They don't want to lose them. But that doesn't mean they're always faithful. And that's because of the attention needs. You know, and when you consider the fact that Leo is ruled by the sun and it's all about self-expression and creativity and drama, it's never going to be a surprise that when you're looking at Eros and Leo, people are going to be passionate types who enjoy somebody who's going to keep the spotlight on them. They, you know, they want to keep the spotlight on them. And they know they're the shit. They're confident, they're charismatic, and that makes them attractive to other people, and they know that shit. It's about the vibe. It don't even be about how they look, which is pretty cool in its own right a lot of the time. But it's about, hey, look, man, I'm somebody. I got a lot of energy. They feel like they're someone special. So you're gonna treat them special, or they're gonna make sure that everybody knows that they're special. And what else? You just got to be careful that you're giving them the attention they need, those people right there. Or keeping them faithful is going to be a problem. Now, when it comes to Eros in Virgo, and see, we're already halfway done with this. Eros in Virgo is about a highly analytical and detail-oriented approach to love and sex right here. But it also are people who might like to play up on their innocence a little bit. Because the problem is these people right here are pretty self-critical when it comes to their performances in everything, even in the bedroom. And they're critical of the way other people perceive them. These are people who are constantly second-guessing themselves and constantly looking for ways to improve. So if they are timid, it's because of that. It's because of that. See, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. Because constantly striving for improvement is a good thing, because they could be the best you ever had. And if they're not, they will be. But the bad part of it is them constantly needing to be perfect, and them never feeling satisfied themselves because they don't feel like they satisfied you properly, no matter whether you were or not. Now, these are people who are going to have really high standards for the people they're involved with, and they're going to want somebody who's intelligent, hardworking, reliable, and somebody who can give them the same effort they're going to put out. But they can also come across, like most Virgo placements, as cold and unemotional. But it's not that. They just need more time to warm up, all right? And once they do open up, they're going to be incredibly loyal. They're going to have a deep reservoir of love and devotion. But here, when I see Eros in Virgo, I can see people who have issues with sexual repression that causes other issues in their life. And they have a need for everything to be perfect, and they need the situation to be perfect. So if the situation ain't perfect, they ain't gonna be turned on. And so that they repress their sexuality, and that causes frustration. They just struggle real hard to let go and just enjoy the moment. And they're overthinking every little fucking detail instead. So if they can learn how to relax and go with the flow a little bit more, then they can find that their sex life is going to improve immensely. But if not, it could be non-existent. And overall, Eros and Virgo is going to lead to this methodical and practical approach to love and relationships. And these are going to be people who are perfectionists. And they want everything just perfect before they can take any action. But they're also going to make sure that whatever they apply is going to be perfectly and consistently. All right. But yeah, they just need to learn to loosen up a little bit and trust that things are going to work out in the end, and then they'll be able to open up emotionally and discover true intimacy with another person. And they'll be able to also explore their creativity more. Now, when it comes to Eros and Libra, like most Libra sign or Libra placements, Eros and Libra is going to amplify that need for a committed relationship. People with this placement are going to have a strong desire to be appreciated and loved, and they're going to put forth a great amount of effort to keep their partner happy. even at the cost of their own happiness sometimes. They're charming, they're romantic, but they can also be indecisive, like all Libra placements. And their fear of being alone can also lead them into some codependent relationships that are not healthy for them. Now, on the positive side, these are people who are always striving for harmony in their relationships, and that they truly want what's best for the people they're involved with. So they can be selfless lovers who are always trying to please their partners. However, they're going to need to be careful of people-pleasing tendencies and making their own needs not important. Because then they start to feel unsatisfied, and then resentment starts to build within themselves, and that causes problems later on within the relationships when they finally decide to stand up. And then it's all of a sudden this big blow up that the other partner didn't expect because they thought everything was good because all they did was people please them. And they also need to watch out for that fear of true intimacy that could prevent them from really opening up with people. And if you have Eros in Libra, you're going to be somebody who's romantic at heart, and you're somebody who's longing for a harmonious and beautiful relationship. And you want to be appreciated and loved, and you're going to go above and beyond to please whoever you're involved with. And you're charming, you're diplomatic, and you're probably a flirt. I'm talking about a flirt, probably one of the coldest flirts that there are. But indecision is one of your biggest weaknesses. So you're going to have to try not to overthink things when it comes to love, and just try to go with the flow and let yourself be swept up in the romance of the relationship. And with Eros and Libra, art, music, beauty are all going to be important to this person. And you're going to need to be involved with somebody who appreciates those things as well. And they're also going to need a partner who's willing to compromise, and somebody who's willing to work towards balancing that relationship, somebody who cares about their needs. And they're going to have to remember to nurture their own needs, because you can't always expect another person to do so. And don't get so caught up in making their partner happy that they forget about themselves. So, yeah. And then when it comes to Eros and Scorpio for Villanita, these are the true freaks. See, these are some of the most intense and passionate people you will ever fucking meet. They feel things deeper than everybody else, and their sexual and romantic appetites are insatiable. Absolutely insatiable. See, there's this intensity to them that can make even the most grounded motherfucker feel unsteady. I'm telling you. It's as if they trying to touch your soul. They don't want your body, they want your soul. When they say, oh, this is a soul snatcher, this is the one. This is the soul snatcher. This is the freak of the week. There is no halfway with these motherfuckers right here. Either you gonna get the whole thing, or you ain't never touching it. You won't even sniff it. And when they give themselves over to love or passion, they're gonna do it completely with their body and their soul. And in the process, they lose their mind. That creates the obsession. Oh, and if you're lucky enough to be loved or even fucked by somebody with Eros and Scorpio, just know that you've been seen for who you really are. Know that. Your wants, your desires, your fears, your facades, all of it. And they still chose you. And that's powerful in itself. That's powerful in itself. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, as I said, this placement right here can lead to some dangerous obsession, some jealousy, and some control issues if you can't keep it in check. These individuals that have this placement need to learn how to let go of what or of who they can't change, and instead channel their passion into more positive outlets such as creativity or sex magic or activism. Or be careful with that sex magic. And I mean, when it comes to love and sex, Eros and Scorpio people are looking for intensity and depth And they want to be nastier than everybody else because they want to take it farther than anybody else take it, because they want to experience something with you that you weren't willing to do with anybody else. They don't want to do the shit that you did with everybody else. They want something that's specifically for them, and they're willing to take it as far as it takes to get that. They want to be seen, really seen by the people they're involved with. And they desire a sexual connection that goes beyond the mere physical. That's why they'll take it so motherfucking far. That's why they'll go so motherfucking hard. And if you can handle that intensity and give them what they need emotionally and sexually, then you'll have a lover for life. They'll fuck you forever, baby. And let me also tell you this, something I've learned. People specifically who work with energy or do witchcraft with the asteroid ErOs and Scorpio are going to be natural born healers with a deep understanding of the human condition and of the psyche. They're going to possess an unquenchable curiosity that makes people tick. And, you know, they're going to be people who are drawn into that taboo shit, into those kinks. And they're going to be about sex, death, and witchcraft, motherfucker. And these motherfuckers know how to access the deepest parts of themselves and the deepest parts of other people without being consumed by it. I know this because this is something I've worked with for years, I'm telling you. So if this is your placement, you know, beyond all that shit right there, your karmic contract is about learning how to use your power for good rather than for destruction. All right? See, when you're operating from a place of love and compassion, there ain't shit you can't accomplish. But if you allow yourself to be controlled by your fears, your insecurities, or you allow your desire or greed to take over, you're going to end up causing yourself pain. Maybe even death and destruction. All types of stuff combed out of them. Now, when it comes to Eros and Sagittarius, you know, like most Sagittarius placements, it's going to be known for being freedom-loving and independent. So when Eros hits this sign, it's going to create some interesting dynamics, to say the least, because on one hand, the person with this might become addicted to the thrill of the chase and always need something new in order to stay interested. So that can be dangerous in its own right. And that right there could manifest as this constant string of flings or one-night stands, you know, and commitment ain't their thing. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not that they're not capable of it, but it's not their thing. It's probably not gonna be. And additionally, you know, they might have trouble seeing eye to eye with the partner on important matters due to their differing opinions. And again, that's just their independence that's always rearing their head. They're going to constantly go against whatever you say. They're not going to agree with you, even if they agree with you. But at the same time, if they're able to find somebody who complements their personality well, then, hey, they're going to be fierce, and they're going to be loving. It's going to be fun. You just can't try to tie them down, or you're going to get your feelings hurt. You're going to get your feelings hurt. And, hold on. Let me see what else I could say with this. Now, here's the thing. This is Sagittarius, so their darker side might actually come out in the bedroom with this. These people can be pretty fucking kinky right here, and they can enjoy pushing boundaries. They can know no boundaries. This is Jupiter being involved. There are no limits. There are no boundaries. And they might also have some very specific and pretty outrageous fantasies that they want to explore. And their sexual appetite can be insatiable. That could know no boundaries. So they're always up for doing different shit or trying new things. And if you can't keep up, you ain't keeping up. Now, in terms of what turns them on, it really is going to depend on the individual. But, you know, people with strong Sagittarius placements in general tend to be attracted to confident people who know what they want. And that sense of humor is extremely important. So if you can make somebody with Sagittarius placements, and especially ErOs in Sagittarius laugh, then you in. If you grin, if they grin, you in. If you can make them laugh, you halfway there. So, you know, to sum it up for you, if you're looking for somebody who is exciting and you want an adventure-packed liaison, but not necessarily a long-lasting relationship, then this is perfect for you. Just be prepared for shit to get a little wild. They like to get a little crazy, okay? But if you ain't trying to get a little crazy and your feelings are gonna get caught up, somebody else might be for you. Now, when it comes to Eros and Capricorn, you know, these are going to be people who have this deep, intense, and serious side when it comes to love. Like, and that doesn't mean it's not fun. It just means they take that serious too. You know, it means they're not the type to play games or mess around. They want something real. They want something lasting. They want something committed. Exactly. Calm down. You know, now, I could say this, man. These are, once again, like a lot of Capricorn placements, going to be people who can sometimes seem cold or unemotional on the outside. But once you get to know them, they're actually some of the most passionate lovers that you will ever be with. And they're going to stand by you through thick and thin. I'm talking about these right here can be the best you ever had. Because they need that release. But they have to be at a certain point for them to open up, you know. And besides that, they're going to be people who are ambitious in all areas of life, including their relationships. And so they're going to put a lot of pressure on themselves and their partner to achieve certain goals, or for their relationship to get to certain points, and for them to have certain benchmarks in the development of their progress together. But it's also because they genuinely believe that anything worth having is worth working for. Even in the bedroom, they want you to put that work in. They want to work you out. And at times that determination, it can come across as some inflexible rigidity. But if you appreciate somebody who puts in that extra effort, shit, it's the one. See, Eros and Capricorn people are also going to be pretty freaky in their own right. I don't want you to get this. This is not somebody who's vanilla. Even though it's Capricorn, this ain't bored. No, they're going to be into that BDSM. They're going to be quite kinky. They're going to be experimental. They want to push boundaries. They want to show you discipline. They have a very dirty mind, and they're going to keep you guessing as to what they're going to come up with next. You know, they like to play the long game. They want to see how long you can take it. They want to test your stamina. But it isn't easy for them to express that. So they're not going to do that with everybody. And that's beautiful. It's going to take a while for them to open up their defenses and let you see their desire. But if they do, you just let a freak off the leash. And overall, these people are going to make loyal, protective, and supportive partners. And you know, they're going to always be there when you need them. And when it comes to their creativity, they want to be able to do something that pays off. They're not going to do anything for nothing. If they want to create something, they want to do something that's going to be recognized. Or if not recognized, profited. You hear me? We're almost done here. We're going to Aquarius and Pisces, and then we'll open the floor up for questions for a little bit. Now, I have Eros in Aquarius in my 5th house. And so next we're going to talk about my placement. And, you know, having Eros in Aquarius is going to mean you're somebody who's attracted to things that are out of the ordinary. You know, something who's attracted to that real freaky shit, that different or eccentric shit. And I am. And I mean, you just need to be able to try different stuff. You're willing to try just about anything. You have a need for freedom, and you have a need for space also in your relationships. And you can actually be quite detached emotionally with this right here. And I am. I'm very emotional, but I'm detached with the people that I'm involved with, you know. And I'm kind of aloof. And people with this placement are going to be a little aloof. But they do care about making a difference with people and making a difference in the world. And they want people to be free to do whatever they enjoy. People with this placement like myself are going to need a partner who respects their independence and somebody who's comfortable with plenty of personal time apart from the people that they're loving. As I said before, my need for space has caused problems in all my relationships. You know, now sexually, you know, having Eros and Aquarius is gonna mean you need some type of mental stimulation before you can ever feel fully aroused. And that's true also. And you're gonna be somebody who really needs to try new things regularly. And you're gonna want to explore as kinky as it can go. You're gonna explore the kinkier side. And that is a thing for me. Like, I get turned on by doing nasty stuff. It doesn't even have to do with the person a lot of the time. I'm gonna be honest. It has to do with how nasty we're being. I can get turned on from just being nasty. It's like, oh, we being nasty now. Oh, we get nastier. Oh, it's nasty. That's what you know, the nastier it's getting, the weirder it gets, the fucking more it's gonna turn me on. That's the truth. Like the crazier it get, like what the fuck? Like, yeah, it went down in this bitch, all the way down. Like, we ain't never did that before. We ain't never doing that again. But it was cool. You hear me? You know, you're gonna need somebody who's open minded with this. And the issue with Eros and Aquarius is people with this placement like myself need to be more emotionally present in their relationships, and they need to be less afraid of intimacy. Like, I'm great at sex, but I'm horrible with intimacy. And I just told one of my clients that the other day. I said, hey man, I'm great at sex. I really enjoy it, but I struggle with intimacy for real. I struggle with true intimacy. Like, I can't make love to you very well, but we can have some awesome sex, and we can do the nastiest stuff, and it can be like making love. But for me to really open up and have an emotional experience with you is very difficult. You know, people with this placement need to find ways to experience excitement and adventure without sacrificing the stability that they desire. You know, if they can do that, then they can improve things in their relationship significantly. And to be honest with Eros and Aquarius, those weird obsessions, like, they can get out of control. But they can also have some type of obsessions that are humanitarian in some way or another. And these are people who want to change the world. And these are people who naturally want to make the world a better place, like myself, even if it means going against the grain. And I will. These are folks who need plenty of freedom and space to explore their unique interests in life. And for me, this is fun for me, doing fun things and creatively. This is the fifth house, you know. And Eros and Aquarius people are going to be most compatible with you know, people who are going to allow them to be free to explore. And I think we'll go to Pisces now. Let's finish it off. When it comes to Eros and Pisces, these are going to be probably the most romantic out of, even though you thought about it, no, these are going to be the most romantic and compassionate out of all of them. These people who wear their hearts on their sleeves, and they're going to be selfless lovers. They get the satisfaction from satisfying you. But they can also be quite fearful when it comes to sexual situations and relationships. They have a hard time opening up and committing to one person due to that fear of rejection or that fear of getting hurt. Because when they open up completely, you know. And in terms of relationships, Eros and Pisces people are usually going to long for something soulful. They want something that's a spiritual connection. They want somebody that goes beyond just that physical thing, you know. And this placement is going to lead them more towards partnerships where they developed bonds, not attractions, where they can merge not only physically but also emotionally and spiritually as well. And you know, these are people who are going to have a strong imagination that makes them really creative. I mean, divinely creative. And they're going to enjoy anything that's artistic, and they're going to be on any endeavor that's romantic or dreamy. And when it comes to the bedroom, they're going to appreciate role play and cosplay, and they're going to appreciate anything that has a slow and sensual approach. And they're not really going to be too wild or aggressive unless that's what the character requires. And you know, Pisces is also known for its connection to mysticism and the occult. So Eros and Pisces people are going to be interested in trying out different types of sexual practices, like tantric sex and energy work and shit like that. And while they can be, you know, passionate and even compassionate and giving when it comes to their love nature, they also are going to need to watch out for getting lost in their fantasies or their daydreams instead of actually putting the effort into those relationships that they have. And it's very important for them to find a balance between connecting with somebody on a spiritual level while also remaining present in the physical world. And they're also going to really benefit from learning how to communicate their needs and their desires more effectively to the people they're involved with. And these are people who are going to, like Leo, which I forgot to admit, people with Eros and Pisces are going to be the type who like to brag and tell stories about their intimate escapades. And they're often going to, you know, dress provocatively to get people's attention. Like they like attention, Pisces. Don't ever get Pisces fucked up. Pisces is an introvert that likes attention. My moon is in Pisces. I know this, in the 5th house. And that's one of the things that people leave out about Pisces. Pisces has a certain element to it. Pisces is an introvert that likes attention. They need time by themselves, but they also want approval. And hey, there's no hiding the fact that Eros and Pisces people are going to crave sexual attention and approval. They like to be desired and admired, both in and out of the bedroom. I'm talking about everywhere. You know, these are people who are very flirtatious in their own right, or provocative. And they like playing the role of the seducer every now and then. But they also need to feel a deep connection with somebody before they can really let go sexually. So they might just be enticing you just to do it. Or they might get involved with somebody, end up feeling used and abused because they do that to everybody. They need to learn how to be more discriminate. That can also be a thing. And Eros and Pisces people are going to have very strong intuitions when it comes to relationships. So they just know things about other people, even if those people haven't said anything directly related to what they were thinking about. So that can make them really good at reading in between the lines and understanding what somebody's really trying to say or what somebody really wants. They can know what you want before you even say it, without you saying it, and give it to you. You know, it can also help them be more compassionate and understanding, and it can just help them help people who don't really deserve it. Shit. And on the downside, that same intuitive ability right there can kind of lead Eros and Pisces individuals into overthinking things or making assumptions about what somebody's thinking or feeling without them having really evidence to back it up. And so they might need to learn how to trust their gut instinct while still remaining open-minded enough to see both sides of a situation before they come to any conclusions. But I mean, who am I but a professional? Now, I think we're going to leave that where it is. The floor is now open for any questions y'all may have for the next 30 minutes. Then I got to go, just to let you know. So if anybody has any questions about their chart or anything else going on, excuse me. Just come with it. If you love me, I had a blunt somewhere. you don't have no questions, we'll just vibe. This has been your Thursday afternoon teachable moment. This has been the differences between ErIs and ErOs, and what ErOs means through the signs. So, just remember, just because it's priceless don't mean it's free. Vibe. Is having Pluto on the ascendant problematic? Yes and no. It's powerful and problematic. It means you're attracted to the extremes in life. And the extremes in life are attracted to you. Really, that's what the 12th house means, is the extremes in life are attracted to you because you have this vacuum inside of you. But in the first house, you're attracted to the extremes in life. And you're a magnetic and adventurous explorer. And you're always evolving and changing and empowering yourself. But in order to do so, you have to constantly face destruction. You have to be facing inner battles all the time. You're always facing these inner battles that keep you preoccupied with yourself. Yeah. Stay seeking truth. What's up? Appreciate the love. Hold up. So, we'll just vibe here. I don't have Pluto on the ascendant. I have Pluto in the first house. So it can be a little different for me. Pluto's actually like on the other end of my first house from my ascendant. But it's definitely there. Combed Autumn has Moon on the ascendant and Uranus on the midheaven. Please help you understand Moon in Capricorn on the ascendant thing. You don't feel uncaring or cold. You feel quite the opposite. You feel responsible. It's not uncaring or cold with your moon. I mean, your moon is on the first house, so you feel, but you feel responsible for other people. Now you can feel resentful because of that, or you can sometimes feel like, man, like life is harder on you because you feel responsible for other people the way that you do. But that's what that would mean. Now Uranus on the midheaven would mean that you're going to need some type of unconventional career path because of your unique abilities, your empathy, and your unique understanding of other people. And you feel so responsible for other people that you need to change the world or help the world. There's also that. But that takes something unconventional, something different. You hear me? Next question. Anyway, my bad, y'all. Combed out. You said there may be a bit off. You said this may be a bit off topic, but someone once said to you that the tree of life was laying on its side. What are my thoughts on what they meant? I don't know what they meant. I mean, they could. I don't want to speculate. All you do is speculate. I can't. I absolutely can't. Saturn or Pluto, which one packs more of a punch, or does it depend on the position in the chart? Saturn. Saturn. Pluto is Pluto, and Pluto is Pluto, but Saturn. Saturn is closer. Saturn has a stronger force. Yeah, Saturn. Yeah. Pluto's Pluto. But Saturn is shit. Saturn is a motherfucker in its own right. I would definitely say Saturn. Gotta watch the pattern. When it comes to a chart, the aspects that the sun make are going to be the most influential. The position of the sun's house placement is going to tell you what it's all about, or what a person is all about, but what the moment is all about. Even if you're looking at an event chart, or you're looking at that, the house placement of the sun is going to tell you what's most important, or what the purpose is of that right there. Or if a person, it's going to tell you what they're about. Even in a progress chart, it's going to tell you what somebody's major focal point is at that moment of time in their life. The aspects that the sun make are going to be the most important of all of the aspects, because it's shining light on things, whether it's good or bad. Through the harsher aspects, it's shining light on problems. Through the harmonious aspects, it's healing things and shedding light on the things that are working well. When it comes to the moon's placement is going to be as far as sign, is going to be the most important in any chart, whether it be a person or event, because that sets the tone, the mood of the moment, the energetic mood. The moon is going to be the closest astrological body in relation to Earth, so it's going to have the strongest influence of emotions and vibes. Just like the moon controls the tides, you're a human being. Your body's 60 to 70% water. So think about the effect it has on you. The aspects that the moon are making are showing influences at that moment in time. the house placement of the moon is going to show the area that's probably, other than Uranus, one of the most unstable that you need to calm down. Never forget that the moon is not a stable placement, and that's why it does great in Taurus, even though Uranus is not stable either, and it does horrible in Taurus for the same opposite reason. But the moon wants stability and safety and to calm down. And so that's why it feels so great in Taurus. It feels so comfortable. Oh, we're calm now. We're safe. We're stable. We're fed. We're even enjoying it. Now, Mercury is attitude. It's not just the thought process and the communication, but it's also attitude. The aspects are affecting the moods and attitude and the processing of information. Venus is not just the love nature or the affectionate nature, but it's also what's needed for harmony. Mars is energy. Energy. Where's the energy at that moment? Where's the focal point of that energy of that moment? The aspects of Mars are what's influencing that, amping it. Agitating it, repressing it. The house placement is, where is that energy focused? What is the energy of the moment, and where is that energy focused? The sign is the energy. The other is where it's focused. Jupiter is the values and what's most important at that moment, and what's working well at that moment. What is highlighted to work well. But also, there's no limit. The house placement of Jupiter is where it's going to work out well for you. The aspects of Jupiter is how and what and what ways. Saturn is fear, responsibility, pressure, hardship. It's discipline. The house placement is where that is being applied. The sign is what area of life, or not even what area of life, what energy is being applied through. The aspects of Saturn is where it's affected and what it's influencing. What areas of your life are being affected and influenced by responsibility and hardship. And what are you going to be able to utilize in this search for mastery? Uranus is a search for freedom. It's also where the brilliance is in that moment. It's also an instability. When it comes to Neptune, it's the spiritual idealism of that moment. It's also the cultural influence. It's also where things aren't as clear as they should be, where something is confused and fucked up, even misconstrued. When it comes to Pluto, that's the deep underground energy. It's the obsession. It's the compulsion. It's the need for fundamental change. The aspects of Pluto are the things that are being changed and influenced by this powerful influence. The sign placement of Pluto is the way it's happening. The house placement is where it's happening. It's like that. What you gonna do? What does a Sag North Node in the second house mean? You have to learn how to be optimistic about getting some motherfucking some money. Be independent about getting some money. Have some principles. Do the right thing. I have Saturn in Sagittarius in the second house. For you, you're very street smart. You're naturally street smart. You're naturally intelligent, but you have to develop some principles. You have to learn how to do the right thing. That'll pay off in the end. Combed Autumn. You said you have Neptune conjunct Sun in the 11th house in Sagittarius. Sounds familiar. You're definitely confused. Are you? Hey, we're going for 13 more minutes and then I'm out. And I might be back tomorrow with a top 5 or a top 10. But then again, I ain't feeling very appreciated. Now, I could blame that on y'all, or I could blame that on the fact that I have Venus square to Venus. I have Venus in Scorpio square to my Venus in Leo right now. Venus in my first house in Scorpio square to my Venus in Leo. So maybe that has something to do with it. But who knows? You know. The King Goat Nathaniel. You said you have Pluto and Sagittarius in the 6th house. Are you asking a question about it, or you just want me to tell you about that? Pluto and Sagittarius in the 6th house. Or are you talking to her? Or him? Whoever. Vertex is a karmic point in your chart, a karmic point of activation that's activated by people and events. It's like the dark matter of your chart. It's energy unrecognized. I actually had a whole live where I did 5 hours on Vertex, and I went through what Vertex means in every house and in every sign. So you just have to go look for it here. It's somewhere in here. I just did Vertex on one of these Thursdays. It was a Thursday teachable moment just a few weeks ago. And you just have to go through there and check out what I went in on with Vertex, and it's there. But yeah, Vertex is a karmic point of activation in your chart. It's like the dark matter. It's the energy that's there, but it's you don't really recognize it or utilize it or access it. And it takes a lot for that energy there to be that point, especially for you to be activated for whatever reason. I believe it. Nathaniel, you said you feel too reserved with all of your Saturn placements. You just want to do some wild, outlandish stuff. Maybe you need to find a part of yourself that's free to do so. You need to find freedom inside your soul that allows you to live like that. What does the part of fortune represent? We have a whole series on the part of fortune in every sign. The part of fortune is the most profitable point in your chart as far as this earthly experience. So I'm talking about money even. It's how you can utilize your earthly gifts to be the most use to you here on earth. And that can mean a lot of different things. But yeah, specifically. We got 9 minutes. Let's make it count. And like I said, I should be here tomorrow, but I ain't making no promises. You might not see me till Monday. We'll see. I'm looking good though, right? Just fine. Any more questions? Do we have any more questions? Oh, Combed Autumn does. You said you have point of fortune in Aquarius, but you also have South Node there. How does that work? You're supposed to aspire towards your North Node. Doesn't that sound very profitable to you? Yeah, that can be profitable to you. You utilize the gifts that are natural to you. Your part of fortune can be conjunct your South Node. Your South Node are the gifts that are natural to you. You brought those with you from other experiences or from Earth. You know, it's just the things that are inherent from previous lifetimes, if you want to look at it like that, or the stuff that comes with you here. And so you just utilize the stuff that's natural to you, your natural charisma, your natural gifts that you brought, and that's very profitable for you. Doesn't mean you don't go, that's keeping you from going towards your North Node. It's just you get some money along the way by utilizing your South Node. It's about perspective. However you view it. If you are addicted to the things, if you're adopted, are the things that relate to your family talk about your birth family or the family that raised you? It could be either one. Beats by Bless Zone Out Music. You gotta just channel your inherent gifts and your strength. You need to go watch my Part of Fortune in ErIs video. Beats by Bless Zone Out Music. I have a whole video on the Part of Fortune in ErIs. I need views. Go watch that. You just need to use you need to be more active. You need to utilize the go-getter in you and your the fight that you have. Did I go over ErIs and the signs like I did ErOs? No, I did not. To be honest, I'm still studying ErIs, so I don't know enough to go over ErIs and the signs like that. I don't use ErIs in charts, so that's something I just shared with y'all that I'm studying myself. I don't know enough about ErIs to go through the signs and give an intelligent interpretation that I'm confident in, like I did with ErOs. I've studied ErOs for years. I've only studied ErIs for a few months. So we finna get ready to go. I appreciate your love and support. For any of y'all interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, whether it be birth chart readings, whether that be audio recordings or phone calls or Zoom interactive meetings where we're on a video together discussing things, get at me. whether it be Pluto through Aquarius transit journey readings, in any of those forms where we're going over Pluto's journey through Aquarius and all of the aspects it's going to make to your personal planets over the next 20 years, get at me. Whether it come synastry readings where you want to look at the industry between you and somebody else and hear my assessment, get at me. Whether it be solar return readings, get at me. Whether it be consultations by the hour, I do hourly consultations where we can discuss anything, whether it be tracking your, looking at your transits or anything else, get at me and I'll send you a price list. And you do so at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. That's MR.TURNER 1300@gmail.com. I appreciate everybody's love and support. I wish y'all appreciated me just as much, but it is what it is. I will be back sometime soon. It could be tomorrow, could be Monday. Till then, y'all keep it real. Hit that like button for me if you haven't yet. Keep love in your heart regardless. I love you.